Hello, and welcome to this very special webcast training. I'm personal finance author John Commuta. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate your valuable time, and because this time is valuable, I'm going to ask you to disengage. Please mute your cell phone, shut down any chats that aren't associated with this presentation, close down social media windows, not just because they'll distract you, but because they use up bandwidth. And I want you to get the best version of this presentation possible. And while you're about all this work, shut the door. Just tell friends or family this time is important for all of you, and you need to be able to focus. This information is important to you. The presentation, as you can see, is called 5 Steps to Transform Your Work into Wealth, tax-free, without stock market risks. Now, in this webinar, I'm going to tell you about a true wealth-building secret of the rich, based on a process you almost certainly have never heard of before. This presentation will help you if you want to get off the debt treadmill so you don't have to work until you die. That'd be a good thing, wouldn't it? This presentation will help you if you're concerned that even if you pay off your debts and invest your income, the markets may take it all away from you right when you'll need it, just like it did in 2008. This presentation will help you if you're making good money, but you know that the banks are getting wealthier on your money than you are. I'm also going to show you how to get a higher investment return than you can get any other way. Interesting. Does that sound interesting to you? Well, let me know in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat, because this gives me the feedback I'd be getting if I was doing this presentation to you in person across your kitchen table. Okay, here's my promise to you. I'll show you a system that you've almost certainly never heard of before that can get you to where working at a job will be optional for you. Now, is that a bold promise? If you think it is, stick around and watch me keep it. And if I keep my promise, do I have your permission to take 10 to 20 minutes near the end to give you a great offer to consider to be able to do what we're going to be talking about? If that sounds fair, give me another yes in the chat. Let's do this together. Now, I have a couple of free bonuses for you just for sticking around to the end of the presentation. One of them will be all the slides from this presentation, so you don't have to be feverishly taking notes. Just pay attention. And then the other tool is called a Calculate Your Debt Payoff tool. This tool will help you quickly determine exactly when you can be completely debt-free. Okay. Let's start the presentation. Why are we here today? Well, because the idea of transforming your work into wealth sounds appealing, doesn't it? However, it's very likely you've been working hard to generate income, but that income is not transforming into wealth. Most of the people who typically attend this webinar are above average, hard-working achievers. But even working hard and achieving is not enough without a wealth transformation system. Today, I'm going to show you what I believe to be the best system. But let's start with your why. Why do you want to build wealth? Undertaking any sustained activity designed to produce a specific outcome requires a motivating purpose, a why. What's the purpose or purposes for the wealth you want to create? Is it so you can enjoy more of life's good things and experiences now? Is it so you can slow down and enjoy the fruits of your labors later in life? Or is it perhaps to educate your children? Only you know why. Write it in the chat. Write it down. Express your why. We're all on a first name basis here. Nobody's going to know exactly who's who. So write it in the chat. Why do you want to achieve wealth? And then record it on paper or on your computer and post it where you'll see it daily. This will be your persistence power source. But even persistence isn't enough if you're not persisting at the right thing. If you don't find and follow a work-to-wealth transformation system, you'll end up alongside the rest of middle-class America. So where are they? Well, middle-class America is being financially squeezed. Average inflation-adjusted incomes have been stagnant or down for decades, while average debt loads are up. Are these people following a system? Well, about half of Americans are saving for retirement in a 401k, IRA, 403b, or other qualified plan. Now, I put savings in quotes because these qualified plans are usually invested in the stock market, which is not really saving. It's more like gambling. The other half of America, well, they're pretty much doing nothing to prepare for their futures. So are these plans that half of America are using working? Well, NBC News says the great 401k experiment has failed for many Americans. CBS News chimes in, the 401k has failed. Let's admit it. And Forbes is willing to tell us why 401ks have failed. Well, IRAs, 403bs, and other tax-deferred retirement plans work the same way and failed the same way as 401k plans. How do we know? Because of the results. According to a study by the National Institute on Retirement Security, Americans are, in aggregate, $6.8 trillion shy of what they'll need to ever completely stop working. Now, if we look at pre-retirement people, ages 50 to 64, they have on average just $12,000 saved. Think about that. Think about trying to live the rest of your life after retirement on Social Security and $12,000. It's not going to be pretty. If we include the younger people, so we look at 25 to 64, that pulls the average down to just $3,000 saved. But here's the scary part. 45%, almost half of Americans have nothing saved. Zero. Altogether, 92% of Americans are short of what they'll need, and not by just a little bit, but by frightening margins. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that while Americans will say they expect to be able to retire someday, even early for some of them, most of them are just not doing the things that can actually make that possible. They're fooling themselves. In fact, the middle class is shrinking. Middle-class Americans now comprise less than half of the nation's population. That's down from 61% as recently as 1971, according to a recent Pew Research Center study. But where are they going? Well, the study tells us the share of the population living in the upper income tier rose from 14 to 21% over the same period. Meanwhile, the share in the lower income tier increased from 25 to 29%. Did you catch that? While America's middle class is indeed shrinking, 7% have found a way to move into the upper income tier, while only 4% fell into the lower income tier. So what do the 7% know? There's obviously something the upwardly mobile 7% have figured out that the rest of the middle class either don't know or don't know how to implement. So we have two realities here in America. One, qualified plans and other retirement savings strategies are abject failures. Most people are not building wealth for their future. Two, at the same time, some middle-class people are not only figuring out how to survive, but how to thrive in their later years. That's where we come in. The financial challenge facing middle-class achievers has been my personal burden and motivation for more than 25 years, and it's been the same for my son-in-law and partner, Anthony Manganello. It's what drives us every day. We've had the privilege of helping literally millions of people learn how to stabilize their middle-class lifestyles and how to move into what Pew Research calls the upper income tier. If you'd like to learn how to move into the upper income tier, or at least not fall into the lower income tier, you're in the right place. And it doesn't matter what generation you're in. Millennials, Xers, Boomers, if you have a job or a business and you're building your life and you're neither rich nor in poverty, I believe I have your answers in this webinar. But let's start back before I had any answers. In fact, before I even knew the right questions. Back in the day, I thought financial independence was making a lot of money and then spending a lot of money, and as long as you could make all your credit card payments and your car payments, you were financially independent. That's what I thought. So, along with some partners, I built a business that did pay me a lot of money each month. I lived what I thought was the American dream. But then, one Sunday evening, I'm sitting alone at the kitchen table. Just 2 days ago, our sole supplier notified us that they were going out of business. I'm staring at a credit card bill and the mortgage coupon booklet on the corner of the table, and I hear my wife and 2 young children laughing in the family room of our big 5-bedroom house in an upscale Chicago suburb. How am I going to tell them that we're probably going to lose all of it? The house, my gold Corvette parked out in the driveway, my wife's fancy car. We'll probably have to move. so they'll lose their friends and their classmates. How do I tell them this? And how do I tell them that it's actually my fault because I and my partners didn't have a plan B? I feel like a complete failure. From high-flying, successful entrepreneur to epic fail in 48 hours. So I push myself up from the table and shuffle down to the family room and tell them. Well, after a few days in total shock, and I mean shock, where I didn't hardly know where I was, I start looking for a job. It takes about a month, but I finally find one. Well, it's a good job, but it doesn't pay near what my business did. That scares me. I'm working hard, but we're still falling behind. I feel like a loser, out of control of my financial future. All I can do is fight from day to day. You see, I had thought I was building a successful life, but it was a life based on everything going right. That weekend, I learned that everything doesn't always go right. I was stuck. I worked hard at my job, but my sins were catching up to me. I was just paying for yesterday's purchases, and I had nothing left to put towards tomorrow. Well, during that ordeal, I learned one of the most important facts of my financial life. Consumer debt is my enemy. When I use a bank's money, I become their investment, their servant. I was building the bank's wealth, not my own. When you use borrowed money, the creditor owns that part of your income. The payments are theirs. They own that part of your income for years and decades into the future. So I built a system. It was eventually called the Debt-Free and Prosperous Living Home Study Course, but long before it had a name, Lois and I put it to work, and we had 26 years left on our home mortgage, plus a typical assortment of other debts. Following my new system, we paid everything off in just 4 years, 7 months. Now, I admittedly was very focused. We did this using nothing more than our job paychecks. We ended up owning our home and our vehicles, but more importantly, we owned our entire after-tax income each month. That peeled away layers of stress. We enjoyed our time with each other more, and we had more time and energy to enjoy our children and eventually our grandchildren. So my debt elimination system worked a lot better than my original make and spend a lot of money system had. And I found that it worked for nearly everyone I showed it to. Most of them could pay off all their debts, including their mortgages, in about 5 to 9 years, depending on how creative they were at getting into debt. Well, Debt-Free and Prosperous Living, we called it DFPL, became so popular, I had to create my own publishing company to get it out there. It was called Financial Independence Network Limited, or FINL. We grew so fast, we were selected to Inc. magazine's prestigious Inc. 500 list 3 times. My marketing manager back then was a young man named Anthony Manganello. Now he's my partner and co-instructor in the program I'm talking to you about today. After FINL, Tony branched out and created a company called Tower Legal Network, helping people settle their credit card debt. They served almost 4,000 clients, settling more than $40 million in debts, and they had the highest client retention rate in the settlement industry at 96.4%. Meanwhile, Debt-Free and Prosperous Living evolved into the Transforming Debt into Wealth system published by world-class publisher Nightingale Conant. It was advertised on satellite and local radio for nearly a decade and became the most popular and successful personal debt elimination and wealth building course in the world, which led to my conducting 13 worldwide seminars with Tony Robbins' Wealth Mastery Program. Now, all these teaching opportunities allowed me to help more than 3 million people get on the road to a better financial life. Tony Manganello and I have worked together for more than 2 decades. We've seen what works and what doesn't work. And with all that we've learned over the years, the system I'm going to explain to you in this webcast revolutionized our personal financial lives and what we now teach to others. We can save you a lot of pain. You essentially get to cheat. You get to take the shortcut that we took the long cut to learn ourselves. The shortcut to the wealth curve. So, what's the wealth curve? Well, it's simple. It's where your wealth only grows with uninterrupted compounding. Nice and smooth and beautiful, and I love where it goes vertical out there. But this is the curve qualified plans are on because they're in the shock market. This is not a wealth curve. This is a roller coaster of terror ride. What difference would it make in your life if you knew you were on the wealth curve, securely on the wealth curve? How would you feel Stop and think about this. And then write it in the chat. Again, we're on a first name basis here. Just how would you feel if you knew you were securely on the wealth curve? Now, before we actually start to get into the teaching piece, I want to tell you this presentation is going to be informational because I can't make any promises about how the system will perform for you. And the reason is I don't know how well you'll perform the system. So if we all agree with this premise, let's get underway. This is called 5 Steps to Transform Your Work, your generation of revenue in your life, into wealth. And it has 5 steps. Step 1 is planning. Step 2 is spending management. Step 3 is cash accumulation and deployment. Step 4 is debt elimination. And step 5 is investing to build job optional income. Well, what is that? It's when the income from your accumulated wealth, along with other non-job income streams, can generate enough income for you to live without a job. It's a process to get there. That's what we're talking about, the 5-step process. Step 1 is planning. That planning helps you manage your spending. When you manage your spending, you end up with some extra at the end of the month, believe it or not, and you can accumulate that in a cash accumulation platform, which you then deploy in the most targeted and effective place you can, which is against your debts. You eliminate your debts, which recovers all that money that's currently being wasted on payments, which you can now put towards wealth building, and that wealth will eventually provide job optional income to you. So let's look at this process one step at a time. Step 1, planning. Your plan needs at least 3 data points to get started. Number 1, the age you'd like your job to be optional. In other words, how old do you want to be when you have the option to work or not work? Data point 2, your likely monthly dependable income at that time. And data point 3, your likely monthly expenses at that time. So let's look at those one at a time. What is your desired job optional income age? You know, some people say, well, I want to retire by 50 or 60 or 65 is good with me or whatever. Or they think I never want to retire. It depends on you, but when would you like that job at least to be optional? You pick that age. This is the age at which you'll want your combined income streams, non-job income streams, to cover your expenses. You may not leave your job, but you could because it will be optional. Data point 2, what will be your income sources? Perhaps it will be wealth curve income. That's what we're going to try to help you get. You will also possibly have a business of your own. This is an option. It can provide an income stream to you. Social Security. I believe it'll still be there in some form going forward. And if you're fortunate, you might even have a pension to rely on at that point. Data point 3, estimate your job optional income date monthly expenses. In other words, when you get to that age, what do you think your monthly expenses will be? These will mostly be the same types of expenses you have now, but consider what debts might be gone. Maybe your mortgage will be paid off. Maybe your cars will be paid off. Or you might decide to downsize your home and cars, and that will change your expense picture. So we are projecting out through the crystal ball and deciding at that age, what do we think the debt picture will look like? What will that leave you with each month? A projected income surplus? In other words, will your dependable income sources provide more money than your projected expenses will require? Or will you have a projected income gap, meaning you won't have enough dependable income at that point in your life? And if that's the case, what's your plan? What is your plan to close any income gap by that point in time? Your plan now needs to include some stuff, like the exact steps. This is not a wish and hope plan. We're talking about a real plan. It needs to get you from where you are now to that job optional income surplus number. The steps need to be achievable by you, and they need to be believable to you. Because if your subconscious mind doesn't believe your plan is achievable, it won't help you work on it. And you need your subconscious mind on the team and working. Your plan needs to include the exact steps, as I said before. What specific expenses will you reduce so that you can save more between now and then? How will you increase your income so you can save more between now and then? In other words, you got 2 levers, the expense lever and the income lever. How will you move them to give you more surplus now to build up so you have surplus in the future? Write your plan on paper or on your computer because your brain leaks. You can think about it now and you can say, I'm going to do this and this and this. And then a week from now, you'll remember 80% of that, maybe 70% of that. And a month from now, you'll remember none of it. You need it on paper. And another reason is your resolve fades. If you don't have something to go back to that gets you re-inspired, re-enthused, and refocused, your resolve to do it will just peter out. And you must remain accountable to what? To your plan. If you don't have a plan written down, there's nothing to hold you accountable. There are no milestones for you to achieve along the way. So that's step one, planning. All right, step two is spending management. This is critical. Your financial enemies don't want you to figure this piece out. You are being systematically manipulated into buying things you don't need. I mean, when you're sitting in front of that TV or even on the internet these days, you are being manipulated into buying things you don't need. And you're being systematically manipulated into using credit to buy those things because the banks want to own your future income. But if the banks own your future income, you won't be able to use it to build job optional income for your future. You will be forced to work until you die. You need to fight back against this manipulation. You need a system that will help you spend with your brain rather than with your emotions. And you need a system to protect a portion, as I said, of your current income to build your future income. And you need a system that gives you feedback. To manage your spending, your brain needs to know the numbers and the trends. It needs to know your income and your expenses because what gets measured gets done. Download and use an income and expense statement. Microsoft will be happy to give you one. Just go to templates.office.com and download an income and expense statement spreadsheet. Also, keep an informal spending journal. This can be a little pocket booklet with paper where you write things down manually, or you might want to put an app on your phone. There are some good apps out there. You have to know where your money's going. I mean, we're talking about ATM money. We're talking about cash now. So you need to track that because most people, if they take money out of an ATM on Monday, by Friday, they can't tell you where it went. Okay, that is step two, managing your spending. Why do you want to manage your spending? So that you can squeeze out what we call a margin and begin to accumulate it. You need a cash accumulation platform. You want an account that will both accumulate and grow your cash. Ideally, this platform should be risk-free and tax-free with a guaranteed internal growth and restriction-free access to your money. And there is such a thing. This is also your cash deployment platform. This is the staging account from which you'll deploy accumulated cash, the money you'll use for major purchases, for emergencies, for debt elimination, and for investments will come from this account. You could use a bank savings account or CD, but growth rates are really low. However, your money is relatively secure from capital loss. Capital loss is where the money you put in actually loses some, goes down. Unfortunately, growth in these accounts, as pitiful as it is not tax-free. You're going to pay tax on that pitiful growth. So that's accumulate your cash, step 3. Step 4 is debt elimination. Crucial step. Debt is just the banks stealing your future. So use your accumulated cash from step 3 to systematically accelerate your debt payoff. Your monthly debt payments are the same dollars that should be building your job optional income streams. But debt elimination is not hard. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, stop increasing your debt. Keep the plastic in your purse or wallet. 2, maximize your monthly margin. That's the spending management piece we talked about in step 2. Step 3, focus your monthly margin on paying off your smallest to largest balance debts one at a time. Now, here's how that works. You manage your spending like we talked about in step 2, and you should have something left over each month. We call that your margin. Okay, you want to add that margin, all of it, to one debt, the debt with the smallest balance. Doesn't matter what the payments are on that debt or the other debts, and it doesn't matter what the interest rates are on your dets. You make minimum necessary payments on all your other debts and pile all available cash onto the smallest balance debt payment. And you add it all to your payment every month until that debt is gone, and it will really accelerate the payoff of that debt. It'll just take months. So then when that debt is paid off, you recover its monthly payment, you add that to your margin and roll the whole amount to the payment of the next smallest balance debt, and you pound on it till it's gone. Then you incorporate its payment into your margin, and you roll all that to the next smallest balance debt and pound on it till it's paid off, and you just rinse and repeat all the way up through all your debts. It's called the snowball method, and it really, really works. So how would you feel if you had no credit card payments, no car payments, no student loan payments, no department store payments, or other consumer debt payments? What would it mean to you? Let me know in the chat what you'd do if you were completely debt-free. What would you do if you were completely debt-free? Now, most people never let themselves even think of this because they don't really believe it's possible for them. But I've been helping people with this for more than a quarter century, and I can tell you it is very possible. It's more possible than you probably think it is. And after this presentation, when you get the Calculate Your Debt Payoff tool as one of the free bonuses, you'll be able to see, and it'll surprise you how soon you can be debt-free. Okay, that's step 4, eliminate your debts. Now let's move on to step 5, safe investing. Now, banks know how to grow their money, don't they? And they do it safely. They don't risk. So take a page from their playbook and invest in the same assets they do, like real estate, business loans and leases, education loans, vehicle financing. Stay away from paper investment markets. Almost anything with markets on it is scary and risky, and there's a risk of losing your capital. Stock and bond investments come with capital risk. That means the money you put in could go down. Why would you put your savings at risk when your primary income source is already at risk? What am I talking about? Well, how many times have you come home from work, turned on the news, and heard a story about how some big corporation just laid off 10,000 people? Those 10,000 people were bopping into work that morning going, boy, I sure am glad I got a steady paycheck that I can count on from a good, dependable company. And then they walked out that evening with a box full of all their stuff. That is not a risk-free income source. So it is at risk. And it could be layoffs, it could be an illness, it could be an accident. Many things can change your income picture. So on top of that risk, which is already there and you can't do hardly anything about it, why would you put your savings at risk? Your 401k, IRA, 403b, they're always at risk. They're in the markets. Markets go up, markets go down, and they seem to go down at the worst possible times. Seek investments with little to no capital risk. You want your job optional income funds to be there when you need them. Look for alternative investments. These are alternatives to the markets, things like private equity funds, private lending, life settlement funds, structured commercial loan funds, and bridge loans. So these are the 5 steps to job optional income. Number 1, you got to have a plan. If you want to get to a destination, you need a map. Step 2, manage your spending so that you have a margin left to put to work for your future. You need to accumulate that in a powerful accumulation and deployment platform. And then the first place you deploy it is on debt elimination so you can recover all the payments you were sending away to creditors. And now you have more money to pile into investments so that you can grow wealth to provide job optional income in your future. And don't forget, we have those 2 bonuses for you. If you stay with me to the Q&A session at the end of the presentation, we'll get you one. One of the bonuses is a tool that will help you calculate your actual total debt elimination timeline, the Calculate Your Debt Payoff tool. The other bonus is all the slides from this presentation, including this one that you're looking at right now. Okay, was that helpful? Did the 5-step job optional income process make sense to you? Now, you could go to a financial planner and pay thousands of dollars, and these are the stages that their plan will take you through. And you're going to have to work out most of the numbers for them. Okay, so you might as well just sort of do it for yourself, right? These are the 5 steps. This is right out of Certified Financial Planner book. And so this is the financial plan that you really need to follow if you want to get to job optional income. So give me a yes in the chat and let me know if we're good to keep moving. I know I've been giving you a lot of information, but I've given you enough here to create your own action plan and execute it. If you think you got all those steps and you know how you could accomplish them, God bless you. I wish you well, and I hope you can do it. But Tony and I have engineered a system that has actually been 2.5 decades in the making, because we've been accumulating all that experience and knowledge over those years. And our system is the cheat that I talked about, the shortcut. Why is that important? Because systems are smarter than goals. We've developed a system. Goals are arbitrary destinations without the steps to help you get there. Systems, on the other hand, are the step-by-step process actions that, if followed, will get you to your goals and likely beyond them. Goals produce desire, remember your New Year's resolutions, but then eventually frustration. Systems produce results. This is the 5 steps on steroids. Our system is powered by a uniquely designed financial mechanism called a private family bank. Our system will accelerate your debt payoff and simultaneously build your wealth in an account that will only and always go up at a growth rate up to 20 times what banks pay, with no market corrections, no crashes, no surprises. Our system can eliminate your debts and build job optional income with the same dollars at the same time. It can grow your money tax-free. It can give you tax-free use of your money for any reason while leaving the full amount growing in your account. You can self-finance your consumer purchases, self-finance your car purchases. It's way better than a 529 plan to save for college. Our system can instantly and dramatically increase your family's net worth. It can protect your money from lawsuits and judgments. It can allow you to pass your money to your heirs tax-free. It can let you invest in any asset or strategy and give you a higher return than you could get any other way. Our system can put you on and keep you on the wealth curve. Our system is called the Smart Wealth System, and it has 5 steps. SMART stands for something. The S stands for start with a plan. M stands for maximize your accelerator margin. A stands for activate your private family bank. R stands for remove your debts. And T stands for transition to investing like a bank. The Smart Wealth System is a 5-session course. Every session has 2 major sections. The primary lesson section, where Tony and I are teaching you, and related bonus lessons and tools that complement what we teach in the primary lesson. Plus, there are weekly online classroom webinars where we review course content and answer your questions live. Tony and I are with you every week, every step of the way. So let's look at these 5 sessions. Session 1, start with a plan. We will take you through a planning process that will give you a clear picture of where your current financial trajectory is taking you by your job optional income age. This is the diagnosis stage of the Smart Wealth System. If it shows that you will not have more income than expenses at that point in the future, the rest of the Smart Wealth System course will focus on turning your income gap into a surplus. If, on the other hand, it shows that you will have more income than expenses, the rest of the course will focus on growing your income surplus. The lesson is Tony and I teaching you on video, and we have a lot of fun during these sessions, and so will you. This is streaming video. You will be able to log into your course portal and have access to all the video and all the content of the course immediately when you get the course. You also get audio of the video lesson, and it's downloadable or streaming. You can listen to it on the web, or you can download it to any device that can play an MP3 file, and you can take it with you when you exercise, when you drive around, whatever you're doing. You can review the content so it gets embedded in your subconscious. You also get documents with lesson 1, like all the presentation slides. You're going to get the slides just like you will for this presentation. You also get a worksheet to follow along with me and Tony as we teach you the lesson. You'll be filling in the blanks on this worksheet. In this case, it's the Start with a Plan lesson worksheet. You also get with session 1, the Job Optional Income Living Expense Projection Excel spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet we will use in the lesson for you to project your future expense picture at your job optional income age. Session 1 is a great start to the planning process. But then I got to thinking, Following a financial plan to a desired outcome requires personal performance principles most people have never been properly taught. So I thought I should share what I've learned about them. So your session 1 bonuses begin with an audio lesson, and this is a full 50-minute audio training called The Laws of Success. This lesson reveals 15 bedrock principles that, if acted on, can pretty much guarantee your success in whatever you focus them on. They're at the root of all success. You also get an audio lesson called The Laws of Achievement. This lesson examines 12 fundamental achievement truths. If you've bothered to establish any goals for your life, following these time-tested rules will lead you to their accomplishment. You also get a tool called Your Average Job Optional Income Day. This tool will help you determine how expensive a lifestyle you plan on living most regular days after you want your job to be optional. In other words, what will your job optional income have to pay for? You also get a tool called the Post-Employment Lifestyle To-Do List. Now, this tool will help you list the things you'll get to do, not the things you'll have to do in your job optional income years. So that's a lot, and it was just session 1. Session 2, maximize your accelerator margin. This session will give you the most visibility you've probably ever had into the spending side of your current financial situation. We'll use both psychological and mathematical tools to reshape your spending management so you can maximize the amount available for the next step in the Smart Wealth system. You will feel the confidence of finally being in complete control of your money. If your session 1 plan shows you'll have an income gap, this session will show you how to start closing it to solidify your financial future. Your lesson for session 2 is Tony and me on video having fun teaching you streaming from your portal. But you also get the audio of the video training, and you get the documents. You get the slides from the presentation, plus you get the lesson worksheet to follow along during our training. And in session 2, you get the income and expense statement Excel workbook. Now, to call this a spreadsheet is a dramatic understatement. This is a multi-tab Excel spreadsheet workbook that will track every dollar of your household income and expenses, whether they're monthly or quarterly or randomly or annually, and your cash spending and your credit card payments and everything. You will know where every dollar goes, and you will know exactly how much your margin is every single month. This one spreadsheet is probably worth the cost of admission. And we will also give you a list of apps, phone apps, that we suggest for tracking your cash spending during the week. But lesson 2 got me to thinking, if maximizing your accelerator margin is that important to achieving job optional income, and it is, then we should provide you with some additional, portable, easily reviewable training to help you do just that. So your session 2 bonuses start with an audio lesson called Finding Your Accelerator Margin. This audio lesson takes you on a tour of all the places money can be leaking out of your life, money that could be building your wealth. You'll be surprised by some of them. You also get an audio lesson called Manage Your Spending to Maximize Your Accelerator Margin. This streamable or downloadable audio lesson unveils manipulations used on you by the marketing industry, so you can make buying decisions with your brain rather than your emotions. This one revelation could free up a lot of money that could be better focused on building your job optional income. Session 3, activate your private family bank. This is where the fun starts. This session unveils the private family bank, the platform from which you will pay off your debts if you have any and build your wealth using the same dollars at the same time. I call this the magic bean. You got to see it. This is the engine that powers the Smart Wealth system. Your private family bank helps you reduce both your current and future expenses and increases your future income. So it closes your job optional income gap by moving both the income and expense levers. The private family bank is a truly unique tool that is quietly being used by America's richest families and biggest companies, including most banks, to safely, predictably, and powerfully build their wealth in a tax-free environment. And by the way, it's not in a bank or brokerage account. In this session, we do much more than just tell you what a private family bank is. We unpack how to start your bank, how to grow it, and how to use it. This is a how-to training. Now, this is important. A true private family bank platform is only available in the United States and Canada. We try to only invite people from the United States and Canada because we don't want anybody feeling frustrated. But this is a result of differences in tax laws and insurance regulations between countries, and they just work the best in the United States, and we can make it work in Canada. So if you're listening in from somewhere else, I'm sorry about that. Now, most of the course will actually still apply to you, but the private family bank piece won't work. Okay, session 3, you get the lesson. You get me and Tony teaching you on video and, again, audio that you can take with you. You get all the slides from the Activate Your Private Family Bank training, and you get the worksheet to follow along with us during the training. But then lesson 3 got me to thinking. At the root of most people's financial limitations is their mode of thinking about money. This mode comes largely from your experiences growing up. So I figured I'd better climb into your head and expand your thinking. So your Session 3 bonus is an audio lesson called Your Mind's Money Box. In this lesson, I expose a mental blueprint that confines most people to a lower economic reality than they're really capable of. I go on to explain how to redraw your blueprint, freeing you to achieve and enjoy more financial rewards than you may now be able to even dream of. Okay, are we doing all right? Chat yes if you're tracking with me. I'm giving you a lot of information fast, but I want to respect your time. I don't want to take your whole day. And I'll have a special offer for you before we start the Q&A to make the smart wealth system we're talking about here very easily accessible for you. So let's look at session 4, remove your debts. This session shows you how to use your private family bank to pay off your debts. Using your private family bank as the platform for this step means that every dollar going through your bank to pay off debts actually stays in your bank, earning interest and dividends up to 20 times what regular banks pay. Since this growth is tax-free, it's on par with what the average stock market investor normally earns after taxes. And debt elimination reduces both your current and post-employment expenses, further closing your job optional income gap and increasing your future wealth. You get the lesson, Tony and me teaching on video and audio you can take with you. You get all the slides, and you get the worksheet to follow along during the training. And with lesson 4, you get the debt prioritization Excel spreadsheet on PDF form or as a spreadsheet to run on your computer. And this is the form that you use to prioritize your debts for the right payoff order. But session 4 got me to thinking. If you've been using debt to finance your life and your lifestyle, you may not fully comprehend the scope of how this undermines your ability to ever achieve job optional income. So I thought I should explain it to you. So your Session 4 bonuses start with an audio lesson called Debt, Your Biggest Obstacle to Wealth. This lesson exposes just how destructive carrying debt is to your ability to ever build job optional income. You can either make debt payments or use that money to build wealth. Pick one. You also get an audio lesson called Whose Wealth Are You Building? This lesson goes into more detail on the league of industries we call the Coalition of Four. This powerful marketplace consortium shrewdly diverts most of the money you produce in your life into their bank vaults rather than into your own. If this is starting to sound like a lot, well, this program is designed to be consumed one session per week. Now, if you want to jump in the deep end, you'll be able to access all 5 sessions immediately when you get the course, but the online classrooms, the live sessions with me and Tony, will only be conducted once a week. We're trying to pace you. Okay, session 5, transition to investing like a bank. This session teaches how you can invest in the same kinds of assets banks invest in, like real estate, vehicle financing, college education loans, businesses, home remodeling projects, and other low-risk, high-return, asset-based investments. Notice real estate and businesses in this list of asset classes. Rental real estate and any other business of your own can produce income streams independent of your job, meaning they are job optional income streams, so they can help you achieve job optional income. Now, we teach you how to invest in private equity funds, debt funds, bridge loans, and more. Your investments in these funds and loans are backed by real assets, most of the time real estate, not just paper statements like you get from Wall Street. And when you use your private family bank to invest in these asset classes, all the dollars you use for these investments will continue earning interest and dividends inside your bank while they're in the investments growing as well. So what happens to all that money staying and growing in your private family bank? Well, it too can be turned into an ongoing, dependable wealth curve income stream out there to produce job optional income whenever you want it. You can also easily use funds from your bank to invest in any other asset you feel comfortable with. Do you trade options? Do you invest in precious metals, art, whatever other investments you understand? And you should only invest in things you understand, by the way. But anything you understand, you can invest through your bank. This is not an or concept. It's not your private family bank or investments. It's your private family bank and investments, and your bank actually enhances the return of the investments. It's very cool. So, session 5, the lesson is Tony and me teaching on video and audio. You get the slides, and you get the lesson worksheet to follow along. But lesson 5 got me to thinking. If you're going to invest to achieve job optional income, you need to think like a wealth builder. So I thought I should give you the advantage of knowing the principles that successful wealth builders apply. So your Session 5 bonuses start with an audio lesson called The Laws of Wealth Creation. This lesson unpacks 11 foundational principles to successful wealth building. If you just get these critical truths down inside you, your actions will draw you towards money and money towards you. You also get an audio lesson called Investing in Real Estate. This lesson is a step-by-step guide to operating a single-family home rental real estate business. It's a detailed overview that makes sure you consider every important aspect of investing in rental real estate, from analyzing properties before you make an offer to building your support team of experts. Plus, you get these bonus tools. You get a personal balance sheet. You get it both as an Excel spreadsheet and a PDF printable worksheet so you can use a pencil. A balance sheet is something you really need to look at. It's one of your financial statements, but it's the one that tells you, are you getting wealthier? It produces the number called your net worth that determines your actual numerical dollar wealth, and it should be going up from month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year. So you need this to understand how well you're doing. We also give you sample private bank business loan documents and sample business loan amortization schedule. Now, why do you need these? Because one of the ways you can use your bank to grow your wealth is to lend and have a business pay you interest back. Now, that business might be your own business. You might be funding and underwriting your own business, or it could be someone else's business. Well, for that business to legally deduct the interest that they're paying you, they need that business loan document and a loan amortization schedule in their corporate record book. So rather than you either A, not knowing you need these things, or B, having to hunt them down yourself, we give them to you. Now, this is a system. Start with a plan, a real plan, showing you where you're starting from and where you're trying to get, and are you on that trajectory? Step 2, we really teach you how to control, manage your spending, understand your spending, and understand your enemies that are trying to get your money away from you. You will begin to accumulate a margin, and you accumulate that in your private family bank so that you can deploy it first towards removing your debts. Why? Because you get back all that money you're wasting on debt payments, which adds to how much you can pile through your bank towards investing to build wealth, and that wealth will eventually pay you back job optional income. This is how it really works. So there are your 5 Smart Wealth System sessions. Does that mean I'm done? Not exactly. You see, we just couldn't stop ourselves. We had to give you another complete training session free as a bonus, and it's called Eliminate Your Job Optional Income Gap. This is a complete 6th session, including video and audio lessons, handouts, and bonuses, bringing all the tools of the previous 5 sessions to bear on making sure your post-employment income streams will add up to more than your post-employment living expenses. You get me and Tony on video and audio, you get the slides, and you get the worksheet to follow along during the training. But lesson 6 got me to thinking. If I'm going to ask you to consider making bigger life changes to allow you to enjoy job optional income, then perhaps I should give you a teaching on just that. So you get an audio lesson called Redesign Your Life. This interesting lesson takes you outside your life plan box to explore other lifestyle and location possibilities. You may well find a more desirable retirement life or even current life in a less expensive area, possibly even doing something much different from your current occupation. And then I had yet another thought. If you'd like to take some steps to increase your income to help you build wealth and close any job optional income gap, there are several ways you can do that. So I thought I should probably explain those to you as well. So you get an audio lesson called How to Increase Your Income. This powerful lesson examines your realistic options for increasing your primary income stream and adding additional income streams. From strategies for getting a raise, to changing employers, to changing careers, to starting a business of your own, this lesson helps you determine what would work best for your present and future life. You also get these bonuses. You get a career change checklist. The key steps you would need if you're going to change careers, they're on this checklist. And a second income evaluation spreadsheet. The spreadsheet will help you determine whether a second household income will really improve your cash flow, because going out to a second job comes with additional costs, gasoline, clothing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This helps you figure all that stuff out. Plus, you get a special bonus, and this is very valuable, a free personal, real-time, live, one-on-one private family bank consultation. Might be with me, might be with Tony, or one of our other 3 team members who do this. You can find out how much job optional income your private family bank could build for you by your job optional income age, and you can find out how rapidly you could pay off your debts through your private family bank. Okay, now I'm actually done telling you what's in the course. That's the Smart Wealth System course. And we want to hear now from some people who actually are using the Smart Wealth System course. Here's what Carol says. I have become so obsessed with my money that I do believe you've created a monster. I went through the Smart Wealth System and have started my personal family bank. I am within 2 years of truly being debt-free. You have also taught me to start planning for what to do with all that freed up money in my accelerator margin. The private family bank has also allowed me to pay down my debt even faster. I love listening to you two. I feel as if I'm listening to my well-respected neighbors. My family looks at me with envy when I talk about money and not having a mortgage. I am your best advertisement. They know you will be there for them when they are ready. Thank you, John and Tony. Lori says, with the Smart Wealth System, I feel very confident. There are bonus videos with each session that teach you how to reduce your expenses, achieve professional success, and detailed advice on ways to invest your money. For anyone who is striving for financial security and for work to be optional in the future, I recommend this program most highly. Henrietta says, I want this knowledge to be shared with every young person out there. Let's stop giving our money to high credit cards, high auto loans, student loans, and so on, and start paying ourselves for the things we need, like a car, a house, an education, while securing our financial future for retirement. I do not want to have to work for the rest of my life. I want to be able to set a retirement date when I want. That's the beauty I saw in the system. It is a smart way to build financial security. The process was simple and easy to grasp because I already have the mentality of investing in myself first. Do it for you as I have done it for me. Dave says, I had to change my retirement strategy because what I was doing was not working. The standard 401k wasn't working. I was saving, but I wasn't getting out of debt. I lost a lot of money in 2008, and credit card debt increased substantially. I wish I had done this when I was younger. Don't we all, Dave? Now, Andrew, and I have to preface this, Andrew sent me this email on a day when the stock market took a dive of more than 1,000 points. So Andrew said in that email, thank you for your advice and your help with our savings plan. Many of my coworkers were concerned all day about the plunge of today, and I was able to simply relax. Thank you again. And finally, Becky says, if you decide to give the SMART program a try, we're pretty sure you won't be disappointed. We weren't and still aren't. The program is a magnificent, life-changing, and practical approach to financial freedom. And like many other people have said before us, we wish we would have found this program sooner. So just imagine, with the Smart Wealth System, you could be rapidly paying off your debts, and instead of just sending extra dollars to your creditors, every debt elimination dollar will be simultaneously staying in your private family bank to build your wealth for the rest of your life. If you don't have any debts, imagine this. Imagine every dollar you put in this system giving you a guaranteed internal return, plus you can use that money from your bank to make outside investments while the money actually stays in your bank, continuing to earn interest and dividends. SMART is a lifetime financial system. It's not just about paying off debts. It's not just about becoming your own financing source for cars, home remodels, vacations, grandchild educations, healthcare costs, and more. It's not just about building a job optional income stream. It's not just about instantly creating a large and growing estate to pass on to your heirs. It's all of the above. The Smart Wealth System course will clarify and focus your finances on eliminating any debts while simultaneously growing your private bank's money pool that you control and can access at any time for any reason. And it will help you build additional wealth through safe, secure investments backed up by real assets, not just monthly statements. And it's a generational wealth system. The Smart Wealth System course will give you a template to pass on to your family. You won't just leave them money when you pass, you'll leave them a financial system they can follow to multiply that money. But time is of the essence. To manage class size for our live online classrooms, this offer is only going to be available for the next 4 days. If you don't take this offer, you'll have to wait for the next class whenever we schedule that, and it's not certain, and you may have to pay a higher price. So, what is the price? Well, let's put the value in perspective first. Thousands of people paid an average of about $3,000 each to attend the Tony Robbins Wealth Mastery programs I taught. Thousands of people paid an average of about $4,000 each for transforming debt into wealth coaching. If the Smart Wealth System could help you reduce your monthly expenses by, let's say, $850, which is way doable, a car payment or two, a couple of credit cards, you're at $850. That would improve your cash flow by more than $10,000 a year. Now, if the Smart Wealth System could build enough wealth to generate $10,000 a year in job optional income at that job optional income point in time, and this would be $10,000 tax-free dollars, by the way, that would increase your net job optional income by $20,000 a year, not just once, every year. That's the real results value of what we teach. But let's just consider the value of what's in the SMART course. In fact, let's just consider the live online classroom webinars. These are 90-minute live webinars. You get unlimited access to weekly hour to hour and a half live sessions with me and Tony. Now, wealth coaches and financial advisors routinely charge $200 to $500 an hour or $1,000 per review session. And that's to get one financial planner for 1 hour. We're talking about two of us for an hour and a half. But let's just say it's $1,000. If you just attended 6 of these live online classrooms, and you could attend 60, but if you just attended 6, that's a $6,000 value. And this $6,000 doesn't even include the value of all the other educational components of this course. 6 teaching lessons on video and audio, all the slides, all the lesson handouts, all the spreadsheets, plus 17 bonuses, downloadable audio lessons, PDF printable tools, and spreadsheets. Or the special bonus, a free personal private family bank consultation where you can find out how much job optional income your private family bank could build for you by your job optional income age and find out how rapidly you could pay off your debts through your private family bank. This is priceless. I can't even put a price on that. Of course, you won't pay anything like the $20,000 potential results difference this course could make in your life each year, or even the $6,000 value of unlimited live sessions with me and Tony. The Smart Wealth System course is just $697. Now, that's a great deal. It's essentially $1.91 a day for a year. It's less than you'd pay for a 3-day weekend at a nice hotel, but instead of just ending up with a few fun memories, you can create a stress-free future filled with great memories. Yes, it is a great deal, but Tony and I want to make it irresistible because we know how this course could change the future for you and those you love. So if you're ready to act and take charge of the rest of your financial life, I'll give you a $200 quick action discount today. So special today, or at least for the next 4 days, $497. Smart Wealth System course with all that stuff I explained to you, just $497. Let's put that in perspective. My daughter is an accountant. One of her textbooks for one of her accounting courses costs $380 for one book. You get all that I explained in the Smart Wealth System course for just $497. So now you can see why I said the price may well increase in the future, because it's just crazy right now. But if $497 is a stretch for you, you can make 3 payments of just $177. $177 today, $177 30 days from now, and $177 30 days after that. And even these insanely low prices come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And since you can get in and look at the whole course immediately, you can look at the whole course for 30 days and decide. So let us mentor you. In the Smart Wealth System course, you'll be learning from 2 people who have dedicated nearly a combined half-century to researching and teaching personal finance strategies. We've helped millions of people worldwide. We can save you a half-century of mistakes. How much would you pay just to save 1 year of wasted time with your finances? Now, an order button should be popping up now over on the right there by the chat. You want to click it. By applying this system, you could pay off your debts if you have them, and keep the same dollars growing in your private family bank. You could build tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement savings or more and instantly increase your estate's net worth. You could save to educate your children. You could know their education will be paid for even if you die before you've saved enough. You could boost the return on any investment and add thousands to your income retirement stream. Build, job, optional income. Click the Get Smart button now. It will pop open in a separate page, so you will still be able to hear my dulcet tones as I continue to explain this and we answer some questions. Just click the button. It'll pop in a new window, and you can still hear me. Now, you can make 3 low payments of just $177, or you can save $34 by making a single payment of $497 today. You can use a credit card or PayPal, including the PayPal credit option. When you go to PayPal, that shows up over there. You get a $200 quick action discount available today and for the next 4 days for you. If you don't take this offer, you'll have to wait. You may well have to pay a higher price. You'll delay your arrival at job optional income. That's the biggest price you'll pay, because every day you wait, seriously, costs a lot of dollars out there in the future. Time is powerful. Don't delay. So if you're not happy, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We will give you your money back. Tony and I do this to help you have a better financial life, not to diminish it. So if you don't think your financial life has been improved by this course, we really don't want your money. You won't even have to talk to a human. Just send us an email and we'll quickly process your refund. But you might be thinking back in there in your mind somewhere, what if I might not be available at the scheduled live webinar times? No problem, no harm, no foul. We record and archive every one of these live online sessions. So you will be able to review the video at your convenience, and you'll be able to hear everybody's questions. You'll be able to read them in the chat, and you'll hear my answers or Tony's answers to the questions. And so you'll get the full benefit of those live sessions. And if you have a question we didn't answer, you can always email it to us, and we'll be happy to answer it for you. How about I'm too old for this? Well, I started my private family bank, and I started on this system when I was 63. So I don't know what too old really is. Plus, there's an application in what we teach called the legacy phase, which actually, there's no too old. This thing applies all the way up to you take your last breath. So we need to talk if you think you're too old. How about I don't know anything about investing? Well, we teach investing. That's what Session 5 is all about. And we teach investing in more secure types of assets than what most investing advisors would teach you about. How about I don't have any money to work with to build wealth? Well, Sessions 2 and 4 are designed to get you money, to help you get the money out to grow, to build your wealth. So we're going to teach you where to find that money and how to free up the money you're now sending to your creditors, and you will have money to build wealth with. How about I don't have the money for the Smart Wealth course? Well, I don't really think this is honestly a legitimate objection, and here's why. Because let's say that I was sitting here with a gold bar in my hand worth $10,000. If I said to you, I'll sell you this $10,000 gold bar for $497, you would find $497. You'd turn the sofa upside down and shake it. You'd turn the kids upside down and shake them. You'd find $497. Why? Because you see the value. You see the value exchange. Well, that's the same with this course. If you see the value, you should get it. If you don't see the value, you shouldn't get it. How about I already know about investing? Perfect. We're going to show you a platform that will add additional return to the investing you already know how to do. Plus, we're probably going to show you some kinds of investing that you're not using, and you may be able to add to your portfolio. So don't miss this. The people who take action now will be growing their job optional income. As Tony Robbins puts it, the number one key to success is the ability to take action. So go over and click that Get Smart Now button and take action. And remember, you won't miss anything because the order page will pop up in a separate window. You'll still be able to hear me. Okay, let's see if we have any questions to answer. And then don't forget, I've got a couple of free bonuses for you. So hang with us, and maybe we'll get your question answered here for you as well. Okay, let's see what we got. We have a question in the chat from Shirley. How do you set up a private family bank? Well, that's something we get into in session 3 in the course. And anytime along the way, you can contact us directly, and we give you the email addresses and everything. So you'll be able to do that, and we can discuss it because it's a very individualized thing. This is not a pull it off the shelf and just sell it in the box to everybody the same way. It is a tailored device, a mechanism that we set up just for you in your situation. So that's a little deeper than we want to drill down in this presentation, but we'd be happy to talk with you individually about it. And again, that's what session 3 is all about. So if you want to see how it's set up and what it does and how it can work for you, get the course and get into session 3. And you need that information that's in the course anyway. You need a plan. You need to manage your spending. You need to pay off your debt, and you need to build wealth for your future. So I would say get the course, and you'll see how the bank works in there. If you don't find value there, you always got that refund you can do. Okay, what do we have Kevin here who's asking, who manages the private family bank and where does the money go? Well, you manage your private family bank. You are in total control of this money. You have access to it anytime for any reason, and it's always 100% in your control. And it gets, let's just say, deposited into the safest place you could put cash today that I can think of in our economy and in our world. And again, it's not in a bank account. It's not in a brokerage account. So again, I would say, rather than getting down in the weeds and details in this presentation, which is really a high-level view, you should get the course or contact us directly, and we will be happy to talk with you about specifically where the money goes and how you manage it. But it's dirt simple. It's as easy as managing money in a PayPal account. Terry is asking, how long do you have to pay into your private family bank? Well, again, I don't consider it paying. It's, if you have a 401k, it's your contribution. It's your savings amount. You're putting it away. You're putting it away for you. So it's not really that kind of a pay situation. This is not a bill. This is a saving or an investment for your future. Now, the way this is structured, it is a IRS qualified type of, it's not a qualified plan. That's not the right word. It is an IRS sanctioned structure that has really cool tax benefits. And because the IRS has some control over how we do it, they require a minimum of 7 years. It's not us, but it is a minimum of 7 years. But here's the thing. For most people, the way I tell them to look at it is this should be something you're doing all the way up to and through retirement. So it's not just how quick can I get this done with. It's like how much can I put aside and have growing so that when I get there, I've got the maximum amount to enjoy in those job optional income years. So that's really the way to look at it. But the IRS minimum requirement is at least a 7-year period before you stop funding it. Ken is asking, can I put my pension or 401k into this bank? Not directly, but, well, let me tell you John's story. Here's what I did. When I finally recognized how powerful this is, and I wish I'd seen it sooner, and actually somebody had mentioned it to me sooner, and I'm still kicking myself a little bit. But when I saw it, my money was in 401ks and IRAs. And so I said, I got to get that over here. Now, I was not under 59 and a half. I was over 59 and a half at that point, so I didn't have to think about the penalty. But I rolled my 401ks into IRAs so I could access the money, and then I took the money out, paid the taxes, and put it into my private family bank. I thought it was that valuable, and I was willing to pay the taxes. And hey, you're going to pay the taxes anyway. The IRS is pay me now or pay me later, but you're going to pay. So I paid the taxes, put it into the private family bank where the tax man will never touch it again. So it was a good trade-off for me. I was good with that. Now, if you're under 59 and a half, I would not pull money, but I would seriously look at taking contributions you're making into IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, and moving them over and pulling them together and making them your contribution to your private family bank. That I would seriously consider. So that's the way you do it. You can't roll directly. The IRS keeps... you can roll like to like according to the IRS regulations. So you can roll a qualified plan into another qualified plan, a 401k into an IRA, for example, but not across into other types of accounts. And this is a different type of account. So that's the reality of it. Lou wants to know, how fast will this system work for me? Again, that's a question, Lou, that is really on your side of the ledger. How fast will you capitalize your bank? With any kind of account that you're building, most of it is, and specifically in the early years, it mostly depends on how much you're putting in. I mean, and here's where it gets dangerous for a lot of people. People will start thinking, okay, I gotta grow this wealth fast, so I need to look for the best return. So they start chasing return. That is the worst thing you can do when it comes to saving and even investing. Chasing return is a dead-end street. Why? Because there's a cliff out there somewhere. The higher the return, the higher the risk, and it will bite you sooner or later. So people who go chasing big returns come back tattered and, oh God, I'll never do that again. So don't do that. This is a much safer, in fact, dependable, predictable, never go down type of account. That's why I like it. But again, to get back to the pace is determined by you principally. Now, it does get to that place on the wealth curve where it starts going vertical. Well, then it's mostly the account, but that's after a period of time. So initially, at least, it's up to you. All right, Terry is asking, how long do you pay into the private family? That's Terry again. Okay, well, I already answered that. 7 years is the minimum required by the IRS. Brandy wants to know, is the idea of a private family bank like multi-level marketing? No, it's not. There's nothing particularly wrong with multi-level marketing. It's a marketing channel. It's a kind of a business. It's a type of business. It's a way of bringing products and services to the marketplace. That's really what it is. But this is not that. There is no going out and finding your own customers and having to find and recruit and train marketers. It's not like that at all. This is more like a high yield, guaranteed return Roth IRA with a death benefit. So it is more savings and the growth of savings and the use of savings to save even more and to build even more wealth rather than building a business. It is, in a sense, your own banking business because there are opportunities within it to lend money to businesses, lend money for car leases and things like that, and get paid interest. So it becomes a kind of a business, but it's not the kind where you have to recruit and train and do that sort of network marketing activity. Kate wants to know, are you able to use monies already set aside in a 401k? I kind of dealt with this. Again, you can't roll it across. You can take it out, pay the taxes, and put it into the private family bank. That is doable. If you're under 59 and a half, I wouldn't recommend that. What I would say is move what you've got in your 401k to as conservative a portfolio in there as you can, because I just don't trust the stock market personally. It's going to get you, particularly in passive investing like a 401k, because what are you doing? I call it a chuck and hope plan. You chuck money in and hope it goes up and hope it will be there when you need it. You don't have any control. You're giving your money to an administrator who gives it to somebody who's managing the plan, who gives it to a mutual fund manager who then buys stocks with it or bonds. Well, that's like 4 levels down from you. They don't know you. They don't care about you. And if you lose money, they still make money. That's not a great deal to me. So I'm not crazy about those things, but I would not say pay the penalty. So leave it there, but keep it as safe as you possibly can. But as I said before, I would look at moving the money that you're putting into that, the contributions you're making to that, and move it over and begin a private family bank with those same monthly contributions. All right. Gene says, can you roll over your retirement plan? Well, we kind of talked about that. And Gene sees we answered her question. All right. Maureen wants to know, is there a waiting period before I can begin to use the money in my private family bank? 21 days. That's the longest period you'll have to wait to get at money you put into your bank. So it's always accessible to you. It's always 100% under your control. Hong is asking, is there a fee to activate a private family bank? No. That's it. We don't charge anything for helping you set that up. And we are trained, licensed people to do this, but we're not charging to do it. So the answer is no to that. Now, yeah, there's a cost for this course, $497, but that's training you need regardless of whether you get a private family bank or not. But for the actual setting up of the bank, no. Kate is having buffering issues. Well, I can't help you with that. Anthony is taking care of that. If you have buffering issues, just refresh your browser and it'll clear everything up. This system goes over the Google Hangouts YouTube backbone. So if it's a situation, it's between you and YouTube, not between you and us. We're good. We're still good. You and me, we're like that. We're like that. Okay. Michael, last question. Will there be a replay? Yep, you'll see a replay, but I would suggest you don't wait for that. I mean, you can certainly watch the replay. We'll send you emails about it for 4 days. You'll get to see the replay. But, decide. And I suggest you decide now. Click the Get Smart Now button, pop that open, and just get started. Get into the course. You got the 30 days. And begin to change your life. And join us Thursday for the online classroom. Be a blast to have you with us. And we have a good time when we do those as well. So I'll let you go because I don't want to take your whole day here. This is an opportunity for you to build job optional income. That's what it's about. Job optional income in the future so you can come in for a soft landing and enjoy the balance of your life. And it's a great deal to get all this training for less than $500. Just the conservative value of the 6 online classrooms with me and Tony, $6,000 plus. The actual value to your life could easily be $20,000 or more a year. Well, even if it's half that, $10,000. That's pretty good return. You can start immediately for just $497 or 3 low payments of just $177. Remember, you can get full access immediately right now. When you do it, you will get an email with your login credentials. You will be in there. You will begin enjoying the contents of the course. And you'll be joining us Thursday for the live classroom. And it'll be every Thursday going forward. You can join us, and if you miss one, you can always go and watch the archive replay. You'll get emails with the replay for a few days, and then it'll always be archived inside the class portal that you can log into. So click that Get Smart button now. An order page will go away in 4 days. It turns into a pumpkin. You won't see it anymore. And before we say goodbye, I promised you a couple bonuses, didn't I, for staying with me? And look, you're still here. I want to give you those bonuses. So here's what you need to do. The links to these 2 free bonuses I promised are at the bottom of the order page. So you're going to have to click the Get Smart button now anyway. And as you're going down the order page, look at all the stuff that's in the course. You may want to think again about getting it. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. But just go down to the bottom, and there are 2 links down there, one for the slides and one for the Calculate Your Debt Payoff tool. There are no risks in taking this class. The bigger risk is the interest you won't save and the job optional income you won't build. Thank you for this time you've spent with me. I've really enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.